The format is going to be 5-minute, what are described as blink sessions. I think they're called blink sessions because if you blink, you might miss them. But so don't do too much blinking because we have some really exciting companies going to come up and tell you their story. It's not really a traditional pitch session in as much as it's about sort of having these companies give us stories about who they are and how they're approaching future reality, I guess. So the first storyteller who's going to come up on the stage is Ben Cole. He is with Mashup Machine, so I'd like to ask Ben to come up to the stage. And we'll... Okay. And we're going to be really strict on the 5 minutes, so the clock is there. All right?
Okay. Can you play my video, please? The history of cinematic entertainment is inextricably tied into advances in technology. Each new innovation has broadened the possibilities for creative expression, from black and white to color, silent to sound, analog to digital. Each invention has resulted in transformation, bringing it with more content and larger audiences, in addition to expanded expectations. And that's where Mashup Machine comes in. We're harnessing the power of both machine learning and crowd creativity to enable anyone and everyone to create shareable, infinitely customizable, collaboratively created animated movies. In short, Mashup Machine is out to revolutionize cinematic entertainment. So what exactly are we doing? I want to introduce you to Mashy. Mashy is learning how to make animated interactive movies. What does that mean? Well, at some level, we're teaching computers the principles of cinematic entertainment. That means plot, dialogue, camera framing, acting, story arcs. You get the picture. And hopefully so does Mashy. Currently, we're teaching it about spoofy comedy horror, Cabin in the Woods style. We call it Scary Cabin. Scary Cabin is the world's first fan-sourced, AI-powered interactive horror movie. Mashy works with members of the community, fans, to create what we call adaptive story worlds. So these things are a bit like choose-your-own adventures. But we hand over, these things are a bit like choose-your-own adventures, but where the story keeps evolving so that eventually the story can be branched in basically an infinite number of ways. Mashy and fans collaborate. So at the same time as being a choose-your-own adventure, we hand over content creation to the fans, allowing them to make little changes here and there and keep growing the story world. Play a little, create a little, a line of dialogue here, a plot choice there. Meanwhile, Mashy makes suggestions and learns from what people make. Basically, it learns how to stitch the pieces together, so that a line of dialogue that someone adds might be recommended in a different context, hopefully inspiring someone to make a change of their own and take the story in a different direction, teaching Mashy a little more. We want to make creation really easy, and we want people to be able to decide how much they create versus explore or just watch the stories. Think of this as co-creation with both Mashy and the entire fan community. And we want people to be able to do this anywhere, on their phones, on their TVs, their laptops, alone, with friends, in the cinema, and even in VR. We believe that adaptive story worlds and machine learning is going to have a really profound effect on the future of cinematic entertainment, making content more personal and democratizing content creation while at the same time making it a whole lot more fun. The result is a world of stories that continually evolves, evergreen stories, powered by fans, collaboratively created with Mashy. So that's what we're working on right now. And where does it go in the future? Well, we're really, really excited about what happens as Mashy gets smarter and increasingly capable of making storytelling decisions. There are so many exciting possibilities. We can really start to push the boundaries between creation, play, and consumption. Imagine if you could binge watch your favorite TV show with new episodes being created for you on the fly. Or rewatch something and have it play out in a different way, but maybe the story adapts to your mood. Or imagine a VR or mixed reality experience that adapts constantly to your every action, twisting the plot to accommodate your whims. like the holodeck or Westworld. As the technology evolves, the options are really endless. And Mashup Machine is just starting this journey. And we're really hoping that you'll join us. Either as a fan, so please do check out scarycabin.com, or perhaps even as a collaborator. We're looking for partnerships. We're looking for people who want to join our team, any of that stuff. So thank you so much. And contact me after this if you're interested. Thank you.
Excellent stuff. I can see yet another role for horrific holographic rabbits emerging in this self-writing horror. Okay, and then, so following on from that, just to prove that it's not all about the 604, we have Sam Fisher from Hippo, all the way from Kelowna. And I see also Lance Prieb as well is joining Sam on stage. Do you guys want these mics, or are you going to use the lectern? Here you go. All right, and you can see there's the 5 minutes there, and 3, 2, 1.
I'll stand up.
Go.
Welcome to the world of Hippo. We flew in this morning from Kelowna, and it's great to be here. We live in the world of orchards and vineyards and beaches, and our studio takes us about 15 minutes to get to the studio and about 45 minutes to get to the ski hill. And so you do that, and then I'll talk. That's that's teamwork. So I'm going to just tell you 3 things about our studio, and then Lance, who is our creative genius, will talk a little bit more about some of the things that we're working on. But when Lance and I grew up, we read comic books, and comic books just, when we look at our kids now, they're not reading the comic books as much, they're playing video games. And so we look at video games sort of as today's comic books, and you cannot argue that the comic books that we read, had such an impact on culture. So we tell the people that are at our studio, what we're doing has an impact. It has an impact. We are there to make an impact, so please be bold. Do great things. And so number 1, we ask our people to be bold. Number 2, a number of years ago, we started something of adding the lean business process into how we make games. That was kind of a new idea. We didn't think it could happen, so we were told. But we expect all our games to be profitable. That's kind of a new idea. So we actually expect our teams to have metrics that go along with their games, and continuing on that. So we are unashamed. Revenue is our oxygen. That's what keeps us going. So that's kind of a line that we use. The third thing I want to tell you about us is that we care about our fans, and that is what drives everything that we do. And we see everything that we do. Our number 1 business goal amongst our team, creative, design, the whole enchilada, is to grow our audience. So we want to grow our audience because everything we do, the larger the audience, the more impact we can have. So we are working on that. So some of the things that we're going to be doing, Lance, why don't you talk a little bit more about some of the things that's going on?
Sure. Most people might know us for our most popular game. That's Adventure Capitalist. If you play it, you can just, you click it, put it back in your pocket, and you keep making money. So this game's been going about 2 years now, generates quite a bit. We have some ambitious plans to continue growing this game and expanding it. We're also following up on a sequel. Of course, we've already made fun of all the capitalists in the world, and it's a really great year to have Trump as president. And we're following up with Adventure Communist. So to continue the joke, and we're going to continue going online to make these 2 games work together. Our team is also rapidly developing through a bunch of different ideas. We've come up with Guild Quest. It's currently on Steam. We actually do a couple interesting things. We test games in either web browsers or Steam, and then we go to mobile. And Guild Quest is performing very well. We just constantly experiment. In the last 2 years, we've actually made over 80 games. Most of them fail. But that's the point. We get them out of the system, we figure them out, we have great ideas, and then they put them out to an audience, get hundreds of thousands of people to play them, and then learn nobody cares. And then we move on to the next one. That's where we find them. some of the experiments we're doing, we've actually partnered up with Facebook. We're working on some of their new messenger games for their instant messaging platform that's through their messenger system. I don't know if you guys have played that yet. You can go into any of Facebook Messenger and click games and challenge your friends. And myself, personally, if you guys know who I am, I'm one of the founders of Club Penguin, and I'm working on some new virtual worlds with the team right now, and we're hoping to have those out in the next year or so. That's it. That was.
And we're happy to go there. And James, we give you a whole minute. We do things fast, so we'll leave it at that.
Sing and dance for 5 seconds? Excellent. Thank you. That just gave me another idea for an event that I want to do, so that's what I was sort of writing down there while I was standing there. Okay, so that's great. Thanks very much. Next, we're going to bring it closer back to home here at downtown Vancouver. Another great studio, quite local to here, is Blackbird Interactive. And so if Peter Greenwood is here from Blackbird, you are the next victim. And here comes Peter. Excellent. All right, so do you want the lectern or do you want one of these?
I'll have a mic, it's fine, I'll wander around.
Okay.
Good afternoon,
Complete
everybody.
with wandering, here's Peter. Here we go.
Afternoon, everybody. When you walked into the bathroom this morning and somebody stared back at you, was that person a dreamer or was that person a problem solver? Now, my name's Peter Greenwood. I'm the Chief Finance Officer at Blackbird Interactive. And I'm going to take this speed dating 5 minutes just to talk about, in the context of Blackbird, the 3 questions in life that really matter, which is, who are we? Where are we going? What will our legacy be when we've got there? Now, I ask the question about dreamers because Blackbird has a high proportion of dreamers in our studio. We're at 60 people today. We've doubled in size from last year to this, and we'll double in size again from this year to next. But if Blackbird were 100 people, 30 of those people will be dreamers. And how do I be able to be so precise? Because the dreamers in the Blackbird studio are our artists. And the studio was founded by Rob Cunningham, a CEO, and Aaron Kambitz, who's our Chief Creative Officer. And these are 2 of the really significant and great artists in this city and have a reputation around the gaming world about their ability to lead the team and imagine what it will be like in the future. And so Blackbird is tremendous at able to draw the concepts of epic space battles or future bases on planets or Earth in the future with majestic tank battles and conflicts of that nature. And it's the ability to look and draw and bring imagination to art of scale, but then have attention to detail within that art that really brings authenticity to the way in which Blackbird goes about its business. So if they've got 30 dreamers in our organization, what are the other 70 doing? Well, they're the problem solvers in a studio of our size. That's computer programmers taking the art that we've been created and making it come to life. There's 10 who'll be game designers, taking the art, taking the movement, making it entertainment, making things fun, making things difficult, making things easy, making things a challenge as you play the game to make you retain and stay within it. 10 more people will be project managers, and then there'll be 10 on the admin side, stiffs like me counting the beans. So if that's who we are, where are we going? Well, the short answer is the future. And you might say, yes, Peter, everybody's going to the future. But Blackbird project themselves into a way that takes the dreamers and allows them to look into the future. The projects that we've been associated at Blackbird have been homeworld, space-based, traveling through time, being on different planets, projecting a Mars base. You can see it up there at the moment, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. What happens in the future? And so, just talking about the project that you can see on the screen there, which is on the loop, which is the Mars base. So NASA phoned us up. Can you believe NASA phones up Blackbird and says, we need your help. We're trying to promote the space landing on Mars over the next decade, and we need somebody in the interactive digital media space to help us with the way in which Mars bases may look in the future. So NASA phoning Blackbird is a bit like me standing on the same stage as J.B. Straubel from Tesla. How is this possible? It's a parallel universe. But nevertheless, we were able to help them out. So if that's where we're going into the future, it's a sense of what will our legacy be when we get there. And the legacy for Blackbird, it seems trite in a conference where we've had a conversation about Tesla saving the environment, and we've got life sciences trying to use technology to be the cure for cancer. But I do believe that there's a place and a time for entertainment in all of this technology shift, and that's where Blackbird and others in the video game industry, led admirably by Electronic Arts in this city, have a real place to play in the entertainment industry. What will our legacy be? Well, it's only best described, I suspect, by our mission statement of Blackbird, is to say that we plan to make world-class, immersive and stylish games with uncompromising quality that will be remembered by our fans for years to come. In other words, our problem solvers will take the dreams of our studio and turn them into entertainment for everybody here in this building. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Peter. That's great. So we've heard, about AI and movie making. We've heard from a couple of game studios. On the one hand, mobile games, and then, with Blackbird, more PC focused. Moving on, I'd like to ask Angela Robert from Conquer Mobile to join me on the stage. Is Angela? Oh, there you are. Okay, great. And Conquer's a company that isn't in games, but has a lot of the talent and team that a game company would normally have, and they're doing something else with those guys. So here's Angela. Okay, there's the 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angela Robert. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Conquer Mobile. So we've been around for over 8 years, and over the last 8 years, we've built over 100 mobile apps. We initially started with the mobile app revolution, launching one of the first apps in Canada, doing marketing applications with Campages, McDonald's Canada. Then we moved over to building applications for employees to make work more efficient and to really change the way businesses could operate with that technology. And in the last 3 years, since we've moved out to Innovation Boulevard in Surrey, 85% of our revenue comes from education projects in health and safety, for iPad and for virtual reality. So I'll tell you a little bit about a personal story. I don't share it very often, but my dad was injured for the second time in a workplace accident just over 3 years ago. The second time he experienced post-traumatic stress disorder. This time he lost the use of his left hand, major brain injury. And in both of those cases, he was being trained by someone more experienced than him, and someone that was meant to provide job shadowing in these particular experiences. And both times he was just about killed. And the effects on him personally and on the family, life-changing. Now moving over a little bit to the medical industry. So the medical industry has over 400,000 deaths every year because of medical error in the medical system. What they've done to make a difference there is they've gone to the aviation industry and are using simulators similar to flight simulators. Now, these simulators allow people to accumulate, flight time and clinical time. And they allow the medical professionals that work on us every day to practice before you go in for a medical procedure. And so what we're building, we've been approached about 3 years ago, around the same time that my dad was injured. We were approached by surgeons and medical professionals in the simulation space to build an educational platform and product to teach operating room nurses what to do before they go in and operate on patients. And over the last 3 years, we've had over 1,000 people use the application. We've got a rubber stamp from the Association for Operating Room Nurses in the US. We've recently won an award at the International Simulation Conference for our iPad and VR using the HTC Vive. And we're currently in use in over 200 hospitals in North America. And so what that means to me and all of you here is that the operating room nurses that go in and operate on many of us, they're going to be able to go through that surgery before they go into the operating room. So another really interesting place where our experience platform is being used is in mining. I'm really personally passionate about this, of course, and the applications that we've built are part of the employees' personal safety equipment. And I feel that even though my dad has gone through this experience, my skills and capabilities are able to save someone else's life, prevent them from being injured and affecting an entire family. Another project that's using our experience platform is a company called, a nonprofit called CNIS. So what we're doing is we're teaching surgical skills in Africa, and that's being launched in 3 African countries over the next 4 months. Now, in closing, my background is working at Electronic Arts. Many of our executive team come from Electronic Arts. And what gets me really excited about this is all the skills that I learned for building all the sports simulation video games. I'm able to take that into the medical field, into some of the most dangerous jobs in the world, and make a difference and save lives. I would like to invite you all to come to our booth. We're in the Future Realities area right at the far corner. You can try out our iPad application for training operating room nurses as well, trying out the VR and chatting with us a little bit about the African training project. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Angela. That was another amazing demonstration of great timekeeping there, because it was bang on 5 minutes. So last but not least, we have Patrick Shannon. If Patrick's around, you come up. He's with a company called InnoNative, and Patrick's going to spend the next 5 minutes, last but not least, giving us his Blink story.
Singaitla, Nankulas Khunudiki Kaga. Good day. My name is Nankulas, which in my Haida language means the boss. My grandmother gave that to me when I was pretty young, so I think it's her fault that I ended up running a business and essentially creating opportunities for myself and being a part of other collaborations up in northern BC. Let's see, get a little clicker here. Is this it? All right. So, I'm originally from Haida Gwaii. I was born in Prince Rupert, but raised in Haida Gwaii, which is a small native community up in northern BC. So, oh, these must be the old slides, so you don't get a map. Anyway, Haida Gwaii is a small population. We're isolated. We're the furthest westmost point in Canada. We're just below Alaska. And really, our population, if you combine all 6 of our communities, is about 6,000 people. So you know everyone there. And an issue that we found, especially when I was growing up there, is that we have a major issue with brain drain, where we're told from a young age, if you want to make anything, if you want to be successful, you have to leave. You have to go to the city. So many of our young best and brightest leave. They go down to Vancouver. Sometimes they go to Prince George, but really it's typically Vancouver. And so growing up there was very challenging because there's no one to look up to. The only thing that we ever saw was resource extraction, forestry, fishing. If you go into the mainland, you have more mining and oil. And so one thing, I was fortunate enough, so I was sent down here when I was 15, and I spent close to 10 years working in Vancouver's film and design industries, which was an amazing experience. And about 3.5 years ago, I moved back home and basically started InnoNative, which is a creative studio based up on Haida Gwaii. And a big push, like one thing that really, I guess, drives us is telling stories, like our own local stories, through an Indigenous lens. Because so much, especially being Indigenous people up in these communities, is so seldom do we ever see ourselves represented in media. So it was a huge opportunity to be able to start telling stories, and ones from our own perspective, and it's been amazingly powerful. the next part of it, outside of telling these stories, is to get young people involved. I wish I had opportunities like this to experience these things I was so passionate in later on in my life. Like, I'm 27, I'm ancient by the standards of most of the kids that I work with, but it's so amazing to see how capable they are at such a young age. A lot of the kids I work with are about 15, 16, 17. Most people hate working with teenagers, angsty teenagers that age, but I love it because the ones who are really interested really do some amazing things. So over the past few years, we've been making a handful of films. I've been hiring kids to help with web design, data input, helping with design projects. And especially lately, they've been helping me on film productions. So over the past year, I've been lucky enough to mentor over a dozen youth between the ages of 15 and 17 to create tons of videos. I wish I could show you some of them here, but I don't have a ton of time. But yeah, they've been doing some great work and really showing that Northern BC, we have so much to offer more than those traditional resources. You know, young people are that resource that we need to be able to take advantage of and to help foster and grow. Because everyone talks so much lip service, you know, youth of the future, blah, blah, blah. I hear it so much, but so seldom do people ever act upon it. And so that's something that I've been so fortunate to do, is work with these young people. And you know, just this past week, a few of them who made a little film got accepted into a film festival. So they're coming down to Vancouver. And we just finished another film shoot, which is about to hit film festivals, and half of the crew was 16 years old, which is so great. And just showing that even though we're young, we can still produce really good work. So yeah, it's been really fantastic being able to share these stories and to do the work that we love up there. We recently got high-speed internet, which has been amazing. It's funny how just having access to basic things like that can make such a difference. And so the North, for me, I'm excited because we're creating our own opportunities, we're able to open up to the world, and we're able to share our stories, both as Indigenous people, non-Indigenous people, and young people. So thank you.
So thank you, Patrick. Again, so that was just really a small sample of some of the amazing things that I think you can see happen when, you know, this blend of creative and technology get together. Obviously, lots of different iterations of that. So I'd just like to give everybody who was brave enough to be one of our Blink storytellers another round of applause. So thanks to everybody who participated.